All right, so this video, we're going to be inserting the recipes that we scraped into a database. So we need to start copying the code over from the notebook. We're going to we have URL scrapers, so let's make a recipe scraper.py. So let's get our libraries imported. VS4. And I don't know if we'll need anything. We'll just need DB. Session. And then actually, we also want to create a column called recipe. It's going to be a lot of the same in terms of, I guess, just inheriting base. Table name equals recipe. For this, let's just give it an ID. Don't see why not. Let's give it the so we want to relate it to this table. So in that tutorial, I think there's probably a good area that explains how to do that. So my system is actually running version 1.4 of SQLAlchemy. I thought it was 1.3 based on what I saw through the notebook. That's just because my notebook is running one version of Python, which has a different set of libraries installed. But what's actually going to run this code has 1.4 installed, so we're going to look at that documentation. 1.4 it shouldn't be too much different, but I think it actually is. So one-to-one. So the parent, one-to-many. So I'm going to do it this way, where there's nothing, because we've already written that table and I don't want to have to drop it and redo that scrape. So I don't know why there's two different, like whatever. We'll just do it this way. So where we have our parent ID and then we declare this relationship just in the child table. We don't have to do anything to the parent table. So yeah, hopefully you have some background in like relations and stuff like that. It's not super crucial that we do this, but I think it's just kind of, it's just the norm. Like when you have two things that relate, you should establish the relationship. It's just better, and you should know how to do it. And the whole point of this is to get practice. So, and so is the table name URL ID. As we saw here, the foreign key parent.id, parent ID. So for us, it's URL.id. URL is not defined. I think that's okay. That's just IntelliJ trying to be too, or this isn't IntelliJ. This is just VS Code trying to be too smart. And now we'll do integer foreign key we got. Yeah, that's cool. We got that already. Where are we? So recipe ID. We also have everything that we have. Okay, author, description, ingredients, instructions, tags, ready, make, print. Okay, cool. So for this, author, column, string, and then description is also a string. Okay, and oh, wait. It has to be a string. I just said string and I'm like, string? String, okay. That makes a lot more sense. I've noticed that every time I get a warning from VS Code, it's not a lie. Where I'm always like, no, that's not right. but it is. So I keep going back to that description. And then, so then we have all this other stuff. And I kind of had this plan in the back of my mind where since these vary so much in terms of like how many there are, and I don't want to just put a huge string in the database of ingredients and instructions. I just don't think that that's very nice. Postgres does support JSON objects. So we are going to kind of all these things that are kind of like changing in terms of like their length and everything, and like maybe they're not there. Instead of making a nullable tags column, I just want to put them in JSON. I just think that that's cool. And I've never actually used the JSON data type for Postgres, so this is just kind of something that I've been wanting to try. So it's just same setup. I just need to, I'm trying to think of a column name. That's kind of just a good general name for all of this stuff. So like ingredients and instructions, like what did they call it? They called it, did they have like a name for that section? I thought they did. No, they break it up. So ingredients and instructions, that's kind of long for a column name. We could just be like, why don't we just call it recipe? Is that okay? Because we have recipe ID. Oh, by the way, that's not right. That's URL ID, right? Because it's the URL table. Yeah, okay, glad I got that. URL ID, and then this will be yeah, let's call it recipe. Column JSON. Did it get there? Cool. That's cool, cool. All right. And then lastly, this, so not only do you have to define the foreign key, you need to say this. So that's kind of a lot to remember. Let's just, but it's not parent, it's URL. And no quick fixes, too bad. This is also URL, I think it should be. Yeah. And then child is call, we're not doing that, we're doing recipe. So I think, I'm not sure if it needs to be lowercase. What do they do? They have, so this is like the class name, and then this is the table name. Good thing they kept those like that, because I wouldn't really know. So yeah, class name, table name. This table, right? Child, it gets confusing. Yeah, I don't really URL parent, yeah. URL, yes, okay, cool. No quick fixes available. Backref, it didn't like. No quick fixes available. Where is it? Backref is part of ORM. Backref, and then relationship must be up here. That's somewhere for me. Also part of ORM. Okay. Relay ship. There we go. I think everybody quit complaining, and we should be good. Okay, so we've got it ready to go. Now when we're in here, it'll be like the same thing, where we get all that data, scrape all that data, create the object, append it, and so on. Okay, so I think we should also import recipe. Let's get some of the stuff from the book, the good book. We need the headers. Always with the headers. That and that, da da da. And then So let's just start with this scrape recipe, and well, actually, because we're going to get the list of URLs, so let's start with a run function, okay? And then in that run function, we're going to just say, so like URLs equals, I don't want to get too far ahead, but we don't want to rescrape every URL every time we run this. I just sort of imagine in the future there will be, we'll use this to get new URLs, so there needs to be more logic worked in here so we don't scrape them all, or insert them all. Basically, if it exists in the database, don't insert it. So we'll insert new URLs, and then at that point there will be like a handful of URLs that are in the URL table that we have not scraped yet. And so in this part, we want to basically select the URLs from URL where the URL ID is not in the recipe table. So that's coming, but for what we need right now, we can just query everything in there and get it. And I guess, why don't we just import DB, kind of keep it consistent, because I think that's what we did over here. Yeah, so that we have DB stuff, db.session, db. We're going to query URL. .all. Yep, and then we can kind of row.url. Oh, but we will need the ID. So let's say for row in URLs, basically scrape recipe row.url and then row.id, or just pass it the row. Yeah. Okay, cool. So give this takes in a row, and then so the URL is row.url. Okay, and now make soup. Sure, why not? I kind of have a habit of underscoring things that are like helper methods, or maybe, yeah, just makes it easier. So soup equals make soup of URL, and we'll start with our author. Author equals that. Description, like we already have our functions written out, so that's good. Again, stick with the convention of doing that if it's like not a direct method. That's just something I like to do. We've thoroughly tested this. It's been a few hours since I looked. Sorry, I had to take a, like I said, take a bike ride, get away for a minute, because the little makes scenario that I had so much trouble with. Okay, author description equals description helper soup. Soup. Okay. Yes, we thoroughly tested that. Ingredients. It was simply this. Description. And so we want to kind of, let's go ahead and just do this now. Try that, except is, and then we, again, there's a chance that some of them won't have authors listed and we don't want to crash our program, so we'll say SQL alchemy.sql.null for that. Did it import it automatically? Or did I do that? I didn't think I did that. Oh well. Okay, so there's that. And then also here, try, and then accept, kind of the same. Okay, cool. And then it goes author description, URL ID we already have from our row object. So URL ID we have, author description, and then the rest is a JSON. So let's just say like fill out JSON. Just kind of keep little reminders. And then we'll give it, we'll start an empty one. I don't know if it should be named that. Recipe. Well, it's called recipe in the database, right? Yeah. So call it recipe here. And then try. It's going to be ingredients equals, nope. Go back for it. Oh yeah. Control C, Control V. So try ingredients, and then if that works, we'll say recipe ingredients equals ingredients. And then in this case, that's say all. It's not very great to do that, because who knows, like maybe I might have spelled something wrong up here or whatever. So it could be just run the whole scrape and we would have no idea. So we'll go ahead and print it, print E, but then pass through. And then we're going to do kind of the same thing for our instructions. Okay, but that one was this. I think the only thing that changes is right here. Let's watch. Oh, it kind of jumps so we can tell. But yeah, it's all the same. That's cool. Oh, and it's... Oh yeah, there was a bunch of blanks. Huh. Just a little different. I guess there was one difference. That's nothing to worry about. I just wanted to kind of double check. I like being as consistent as possible. So with this one, it was all those, but when we take that out, I think, yeah, there was a bunch of empty. Yeah, we don't want that. So we'll keep it how it is. Try accept, print E, and then it's going to be the same thing for those tags. Try tags, and it's completely different. And tags and tags. The tags were this. Okay, try tags, recipe tags, accept pass, and lastly this bit. So this is going to be, we already have soup, span, so our function starts here. I'm making a function, by the way, a helper function, def. It's going to be make or makes ready prep I think it's ready, prep, cook, makes, ready, prep. That just has a ring to it. Okay, soup. And that for spans, but it's a, I need to do a little bit more work here. So if ready and span, I think what we should do is ready, prep, cook time maybe, prep, ready, cook, prep, ready, cook, prep, cook, ready, prep, cook, ready, yield, prep, cook, ready, yield. Is it yield or yields? Oh, we can't use yield. We'll just call it y for our variable. None, 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 none. Okay. Well, that's not really necessary. Let's just pass it the recipe object. And then if ready in span.text, we don't need to print anything. We simply want to say, if it's in there, recipe, and I don't think it should be in like a dedicated array. I don't see a need for that. So if ready in span.text, and we also want to do a little bit more string manipulation here, because in the JSON it's going to look funny if it's like the key is ready and then the value is ready in 45 minutes. So we'll split on ready in. I hope they keep their capitalization the same. Looks like they do. We're not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so split on ready in, and then we want the back half of it, and then we'll say strip to get rid of the white space on, because it'll get, yeah, anyway. So if it's in there, append it. So this is for span and spans. I think, well, that was working. It's just, yeah, for every span. Yeah, that's fine. I was wondering if it should check every time, but if they were divided up by span, and we know that it works because we have it here. Okay, so ready in, and then we have prep time. It's going to be kind of the same deal. So V, and this will be prep. I'm going out of order. It's okay. And this one was prep time. Prep time. Cool. Ready in prep time. Okay. And then we have cook time. Do we have an example of that? Could be a little worried if we don't. There's one. Okay. Same thing as all the rest. I guess it might be cool to make like constants. Let's do it. Prep, cook, ready, yield. Or we'll do that later. Is so prep is going to be prep time. Prep cook is going to be cook time. And then prep cook ready. Ready in. And then, so I'm not going to lie to you, this is driving me crazy. I need it to be prep cook ready, prep cook ready. It's just easier for me. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then makes. makes. Ready in and makes. That could get hairy. I don't think it's gonna get hairy. It'll be all right. And you are makes. Okay, now instead of that string showing up multiple times, we just say P. It's a convention in Python. See, I almost pointed at my screen as if you can see my finger. It says constant right there because it's a capital P. Okay. Cook time. So ready if cook time in prep. Oh wait, prep cook makes sense. Prep cook, then it's ready, and yeah, okay. I'm thinking about how food happens. So then ready PCR. PCR. Okay. Then all spans if makes in span.text. We tested that. This was my nightmare for span and all spans if makes as have a space. What changes? Makes, hey, when I do that. What's going on? Makes 20 Christini every time. Do we not? Oh, that's why. Makes, yeah, it still works if we don't have that space. Okay, excellent. So recipe dot makes, or now we say yield. Yield? Yeah, yield, not yields. Split on make. Whoa. Did that automatically? Nope. Okay. Split on make. Cups, yeah. 1. Okay. Strip. Why are you? All right, cool. If makes in span.text, recipe yield is span split M1. Yep. And then ready and cook. Maybe we can just say time. Yeah, that ready time, ready time, because they're saying on their site ready in, so ready space in. I don't know if that's just do ready. It's fine. Okay. Prep ready makes, ready prep makes, all that fun stuff. Is that it? Copy. See, why is recipe in here? Oh, right. That's why. All right, fill out JSON. So we did tags. Now it's try, and it's going to be for span. Do all that. Recipe, return, recipe. Pass it in. Add stuff to it if it's there, only if it's there. If it's, it'll just come back. So try that, except exception as E, print E. I'm not sure we even need to say pass here. Maybe it's just more readable. Yeah. Okay, fill out JSON, author, description, and then we have recipe. Is it really only like 3 things? Author, description, recipe, author, description, recipe, and that's coming from the row. Okay. Property time, property yield. So what next? So we have all that. Now we have to, so I need to figure something out with Python really quick. I'm not sure how empty dictionaries are evaluated, if they're falsy or whatever. So if re print yes or whatever. Okay. So they're falsy. An empty dictionary is falsy. I mean, we can just be like, okay, yeah, had to make sure. So if nothing populates in recipe, then we don't really want it. We don't want to save it, right? I mean, if there's no instructions and ingredients, then why? So let's just add a condition check here. As we just demonstrated through the shell, this should evaluate to false if it's empty. I almost want to do it like if there's no ingredients, like just get out. Because like we might be just inserting an author, but let's just assume that if there is no ingredients and no instructions and there's no author, let's just hope for that. Or maybe we could say if instructions not in recipe, and then or ingredients not in recipe. Or then like do nothing, but maybe it's better to say in. And so, I mean, could there possibly be a recipe that has ingredients but no instructions, or instructions but no ingredients? Maybe. That's just the difference of or and. I think we'll say or. So if it has either one of them, go ahead and commence with insertion. And also with Python, just need to make sure. I'm not sure. I'm almost positive that this evaluates. Yeah, okay, good. Got it. So, where are we? Recipe, no, URL ID equals row.id. Oh, and I noticed something too. I like doing this for object instantiation, and I know I didn't do it here. Control Z. I didn't do that there, and I want it to be there. Okay, good. So, row ID, URL ID equals row.id. It's got row, yeah. Okay, so that still links it up, or makes the relationship. And then what we need is author equals author, and if there is no author, it will insert null, same as description. URL ID author description, URL ID author description, recipe equals recipe. Oops. Okay. And so I guess in run we could have like an array that no, because then we'd have to like pass it in. Let's just use db session. So we're still under this if condition. So if they're there, we do session db.session .add. There's too many things called recipe. New record. New record. We almost overrode our JSON. So that would have sucked. Yeah, db session add new record. And then I don't think we really need to return anything from this function. it's just scraping. So it goes through all of the URLs, scrape row, and maybe it would be cool to, and let's actually even do it here. I've kind of figured out that these are like huge with like web, with like unverified data, or what's it called, unstructured data, even though it's supposed to be structured, I guess. Print URL, row.url, and print exception. Okay, and then why don't we also, I like doing like maybe just kind of commits every now and then. I don't know why. That might be, there might be reasons why you shouldn't do that. And there's like a whole discussion, not a discussion, but in this ORM tutorial, I think, does it say roll back? Yeah, rolling back. So DB sessions are like really involved, like not really involved, but there's just, there's cool ways to like avoid problems with like rolling back your transaction. So like if we did hit an exception, we could like session rollback, but I just want to keep moving. I can't really think of a reason why I'd want to roll back at this point. So with that said, for I, so if I plus 1, let's just do every 50, db session.commit, and we'll see that echo spit out in our console. And then at the end of the for loop, commit any residual records that didn't get committed. Okay. This seems like we're close. Third time's a charm. Nope. What's wrong? Line 8, session is not callable. DB session, what'd I do? Oh, query. Okay. Right, so a couple things, a couple mistakes. Can't just leave them, can't just not mention it. So the reason why it is showing, it only shows this on every commit. So it's committing every time because I forgot to say equals 0. That was the original intent, and then I just left it out. My bad. And then also, I was kind of checking some of these out. I remembered that there's online tools for this. So if you just go there, format, it looks pretty good. Those are like your different half quarter things, and that's probably a tilde n. So that's all looking fine. What's not fine is this. So for ready, that's just not going to work. So let's kind of go back to that really quick, because I can't live with that. Recipe scraper. So when it's ready in, ready in 20 minutes, because wasn't it not like that? So instructions, tags, ready, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Ready in. I didn't think ready said that. Ready in. Oh, it was makes that didn't have the colon. Ready in does. Yeah. Okay, got it. So that will fix that to an extent. And did I call strip? I did. So it does strip, but there's this. So what's up with that? Because prep time has a slash at the end for some reason. So in prep time, we say split on P, we take the second element and then replace. I sort of hate when things like this happen because it's like, why does this have this but none of them? But that's kind of why we have to pay attention. So let's just kind of go over it again and double check, triple check format that it's looking, that there's anything else that we need to do. We got the ready colon gone. That's looking fine. Tags are all good. And then the other thing, instructions, ingredients, just don't want to spell anything wrong. Prep time, year to yield. Yeah, I think we're good. Did we spell cook time right? Yes, we did. The other thing was that this part. I don't know. I guess I want to kind of go around and pop it everywhere because, well, we didn't see it at all. I guess li.text. We don't want it in ingredients. We don't want it in instructions. I don't think it's going to be in tags, and I don't think it's going to be in any of these. Don't know why I think that. I just think that. And then let's just do it for these. Might as well. I mean, I already have it on my clipboard. It's not that hard. Oh wait, I think I already did it for description. That was the original place where it was. Yeah. So replace new line, all that fun stuff. So I think that's sufficient for that part of it. And we fix this up. So let's run it again. Let's actually truncate it. Now our IDs are really going to be off, but who cares? Those are the details that I have to let go of. Truncate recipe. Let's truncate the right table, right? Right? Recipe? Yeah. Truncate recipe. Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm pretty sure it worked, but it's always weird when you truncate and it says 0 rows affected. Like, what? So it says that every time, though, so I don't know why I'm surprised every time. Anyway, so we got it all fixed. Let's run it again. Let's see it not commit everything every time, and that will be nice. I mean, it might be kind of good to print something, though. URLs for try, scrape. So if this works, why don't we print out the that's what it's called. Yeah, we'll just see a bunch of recipes fly by. That'll be fun. All right. Python 3, recipe scraper, go. All right, so I got the string manipulation issue fixed with that colon for the prep time. And other than that, it's just been some changes regarding like what to print when there's a failure and kind of the flow of the run function. So I tried a few different things, and I'll show you the end result now, such as print didn't find ingredients. I don't really care to see the error. We know what it is. It just didn't find it, so didn't find ingredients. And then we'll just print, do we have the row object URL? Yeah, we have the row. We are still doing the new records deal. Okay, so we have the row URL. Didn't find ingredients, print row URL. Okay, so we'll just keep doing that, but change the name. Didn't find instructions, Control V, didn't find tags, and then who cares, author description, I guess we can just say didn't find description. And in real life, or maybe in the last video, didn't find author. This would go in the log. So that could be part of the last video and we'd kind of bring everything together. Didn't find instructions. So didn't find tags. Print. Didn't find prep, cook, ready, yield. Okay, cool. So I've been curious about that because I saw it a lot. And then also what we should do, so we still have this I here. So we'll try except, exception. It didn't look like that ever fails because there's so many try catches here. Oh, look at that. Instructions. Ingredients. Okay. So the final form of the run function ended up being keeping a list called new records, and every time a recipe got scraped, it would be appended to that list. And then after all of the URLs were ran through and scraped and appended to that list, the entire list was added using dbsession.addAll and then dbsession.commit. So it ended up only being 2 DB database commands or ORM methods instead of doing so many that was causing so much printing. So this was much cleaner. Also, with all of the changes and I kept rerunning, I eventually found out that I did get blocked. The web page, when I just went to look at the web page, it showed a big "you've been blocked" page. So we're going to work in something to prevent that. If I modulus 50 equals 0, otherwise it's going to do that on the 0th time. We can wait 30 seconds. It's fine. It's going to, I just won't sit here and watch it. And it'll be fine, and we won't get blocked. Tenth time's a charm. Let's go. So everything ended up working. We can see the log with the console here. Kind of finally got what I was looking for, where it just prints the recipe, and then if it didn't find something, it'll say didn't find tags, and then print you the URL so you can double check that there were no tags on that web page. Because if there were tags, then we didn't write a robust enough function to find the tags. So that would be bad. But most of these are actually all the ones that I checked. When they say that they didn't have tags, they truly did not have tags. And for the most part, they did find tags is pretty much the only thing that didn't get found. So we can come here and see that there are counts, I guess. We'll just see how many we have. There's that many. So yeah, there's that many. And I just kind of wanted to quickly show how that JSON object works with the queries, because I think it's pretty cool that we can find, like with this query, we're looking for all of the recipes where the tags contain the word Indian, like Indian food. So there they are. These are all our Indian recipes. And then we could say, there we go. Yeah, I knew something was up there. So here's all the ones that have that tag that say 30. It might be, it's more than likely 30 minutes. I doubt it's 30 seconds. And I really hope it's not 30 hours. So I just think that that's pretty cool. Like I told you, I never have been able to use this in anything, and so I finally got to today. And I think that this could really come in handy because it's not, yeah, it's just like kind of unstructured data stored in a SQL table, and we have a query, the ability to query into it. Like furthermore, what if you're like, hey, I have a lot of, well, there's probably onions in a lot of things. Like I have a lot of chickpeas, like what can I make to get rid of my chickpeas? Nothing. You can't make anything. Chickpeas. Recipe I like chickpea. Yeah, there we go. I guess chickpeas one word. So here's a bunch of recipes that have chickpeas in them, and this is like just driving me absolutely crazy. I don't know why I can't pull this up. Like, what is up with that? Oh, was it just there? What's that? There we go. Oh my god! Finally, I'm obsessed with that. So all of these should have chickpeas. Strawberries, cauliflower. This is a lot of ingredients. I mean, I trust the query, I really do, but just to be on the safe side, right there. So yeah, here's a chickpea recipe. Yeah, I find that really cool. Um, so yeah, pretty much any of this stuff, like yield ready prep, if we need a quick prep time, quick ready time, the tags, you could query for all of this. And it doesn't have to be an exact match. We can just, like for instance, there's cucumber. I have a lot of cucumber. Gotta get rid of it. Here's some recipes. So this would really come in handy if you like, expand this, because this is just data in a database at this point. And that's fine, I guess, if you're willing to kind of just do this all day. But like it would be cool to have some kind of automated system where someone's like, I enter cucumber and some kind of user interface and get all this back. So yeah, just wanted to show that.